Hey everybody, this is me, Roger Landon Daltrey, and welcome to my latest video. Now, I'm doing another tribute video today because it was 10 years ago today that Michael Jackson had passed away. So I kind of figured I'd do you a bit of a 10-year anniversary tribute for you. Now, I've always respected Michael Jackson as one of the greatest artists of all time, but at at the time he wasn't really my cup of tea of an artist, but his music's alright. I mean, I like his music. I own a few of his studio albums, but I only own these studio albums here, and I'm pleased that I own these ones because this is Michael Jackson at his best. I might need to get the album Invincible from 2001, maybe for Christmas time. I don't know, but anyway, so I thought I'd do you just a bit of the reviews for you. So let's get started. So from 1979 we get Off the Wall, which is a really good album, by the way. I think this is my second favorite Michael Jackson album. And here's the tracks for you. So let's see. So it has Don't Stop Till You Get Until You Get Enough, which is an amazing song. The music in that is very similar with the do. I find it very I think it's a very similar, it's a very catchy beat. And for its title, Don't Stop on its own is an album title by Status Quo. And then they are song titles by both Fleetwood Mac on 1977's Rumours and by the Stone Roses on the 1989 self-titled album, which is featured on the early roots of the AHSW and Little Mix cover versions 1968 to 1978. So for AHSW, it was recorded during the Who Are You sessions. And then for Little Mix, it will be hopefully for their possible 8th studio album in 2025, if they're able to make an 8th album by that point. But anyway, and then Don't Stop, we get something like Don't Stop Me Now, which is a song titled by Queen, coming off the 1978 record Jazz, which came out a year before this record. And by the way, this album is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. Oh my god, how time has flown. So let's see, and what else do we got in here? So yeah, I like that song. I like Rock With You. I like the I like the music in that. For Rock With You, it's a bit like saying Rockin' Around With You, which is a song titled by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And it comes off their 1976 self-titled debut, which again is one of my favourite 70s debut albums of all time. So the other 76 debut albums for me, for favourites, are the debut records of Blondie and the Ramones. So yeah, so Rock With You is a good song. And I think With You on its own is a song titled by Lou Reed from 1979's The Bells. So yeah, good song. Working Day and Night is pretty good as well. And that could be like saying Working Class Hero, which is a song titled by John Lennon from 1970's Plastic Ono Band. So the other 70s favourite records there for me would include Paul McCartney and McCartney, debut record of Emerson, Lake and Palmer and The Faces' First Step. And then Working Class Hero covered by Tin Machine on the Tin Machine record album, featuring of course David Bowie. And we could have something like Working Man's Blues, a song titled by Bob Dylan from 2006's Modern Times. The worst Bob Dylan song of all time, and definitely in the top 5 worst songs of all time. And it's pretty good. Night there on its own is a song titled by Bruce Springsteen on 1975's Born to Run. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I like the track I Get on the Floor, and it kind of is a bit the music in that is so cool. It was actually played as the intro part of somebody's top 10 favorite bass players of all time. If you were to ask me who do I think is the best bass player of all time, well, if you're talking about male, the answer is Shrek from AHSW. Then if you talk about females, it's Leanne Pinnock. They're the best bass players of all time. Shrek for the males, and then Leanne Pinnock for the females. So I like Get on the Floor. The title track Off the Wall is good too. Girlfriend is pretty cool too. It could be like saying, oh, by the way, The Wall there is an album titled by Pink Floyd from 1979, which came out in the same year as this record. And then we can have Back to the Wall by Barclay James Harvest, which is how 1981's Turn of the Tide had got its name from. So yeah, Girlfriend is could be like saying Sunny Girlfriend, which is a song titled by the Monkees on 1967's Headquarters. which is awesome. I Can't Help It is pretty cool too. Help on its own is a song and album title by the Beatles from 1965, which is pretty cool. I love, of course, It's the Falling in Love, which is definitely, possibly my favourite song on this album. And I like Burn This Disco Out, which I think is very cool. This album was produced by Quincy Jones, who actually said that the Beatles were very untalented. And he's so wrong. The Beatles are a very talented band, and they're very gifted as well. But I do agree they are very overrated, because they're like number one on every music list. Well, most music lists, they have the Beatles at number one. And Quincy Jones also got the ensemble cast for We Are the World, which is celebrating 35 years this year, and Michael Jackson is actually part of that. And so is Bob Dylan. And there's even video footage of him rehearsing that, and of all the stuff he was doing. And basically all the American people, so Paul Simon was part of it. Kenny Loggins was part of it. Kenny Rogers was part of it. Billy Joel was part of it. Diana Ross was part of it. And so was Steve Perry from Journey. And even Bruce Springsteen was on it too. So a lot of great people there. I do think James Taylor should have been on it as well. But anyway, now we get the best-selling record of all time. 1982's Thriller. I mean, what an album this is. This is definitely the greatest Michael Jackson record of all time. So let's see. So I like the track Wanna Be Starting Something. I like the drum beats to it going. I mean, I like the stuff in that. It's just awesome. Baby Be Mine is really nice. And it's one of my favourite songs in this whole album, actually. Baby Be Mine, which is pretty cool. The Girl Is Mine is pretty cool. And that's actually with Paul McCartney. Because in that same year, Paul McCartney did his 1982 record, Tug of War, which was the first solo album that he did following John Lennon's death. And in that same year, George Harrison released the album Gon Tropo. So, that's pretty cool. And then Girl on Its Own is a song titled by the Beatles, obviously, from 65's Rubber Soul. And then we can have American Girl by Petty and the Heartbreakers from the 76 debut record. I like the song Thriller, but the opening music video is really scary. You couldn't show that to children, because they go screaming to their mammies or even daddies, and they have to get therapy after that. But I like the song Thriller. Beat It is really awesome too. It kind of is a bit similar to Blue Oyster Cult's Make Rock Not War, which is coming off the 1985 record Club Ninja, but kind of 1986. And the guitar on that is by Eddie Van Halen. Because in that same year, Van Halen released the 1982 album Diver Down, which was the most criticised album of the David Lee Roth years. Well, the first David Lee Roth years with Michael Anthony on bass. And Eddie Van Halen nearly left the band because of that, and he was nearly going to join Kiss. So he was going to be playing on he was nearly going to play on 1982's Creatures of the Night. But he didn't end up playing on that album. But boy, I'm telling you, if he would have, it would have smoked. But it would have been cool if Eric Clapton played on it, or Mark Knopfler played on it, or even Steve Hackett from Genesis. But maybe Steve Hackett wouldn't be the perfect fit for Kiss. And he wouldn't be perfect to play guitar on Beat It. But it's pretty cool. And Weird Al Yankovic has a parody of it called Eat It. And Eat It is also an album title by Humble Pie, which was, of course, the follow-up to the classic 1972 record Smokin', which is cool. I love Billie Jean. Billie Jean is just awesome. And it could be like saying Blue Jean, which is a song title by David Bowie, from the 1984 record Tonight, celebrating 35 this year. And yeah, it's just a good song. And I like Blue Jean Blues then by ZZ Top from 75's Fandango, with a similar title in that. Billie Jean is just a classic, and it's the one track that everyone loves. I just like it so much. Human Nature is nice too. And as I said, it could be like saying Two Against Nature, which is an album titled by Steely Dan, the one record that they did when they came back 7 years after their formation, and when Donald Fagen released Camarilla. And then it could be like saying Second Nature, which is a song titled by Rush from their 1987 album Hold Your Fire, and that and Time Stand Still are the two best tracks on that album in my opinion. Pretty Young Thing is a really nice song as well. And it could be like saying Pretty Woman by Roy Orbison, that Van Halen cover for Diver Down, and then maybe A Pretty Boy Floyd by Bob Dylan for the Woody Guthrie and Lead Belly soundtrack. And I somewhat like, and it kind of finishes nicely with Lady in My Life. And then In My Life on its own are song titles by the following: The Beatles, on 1965's Rubber Soul by Barclay James Harvest, on 1975's Time Out of Ghosts, and by Leo Sayer on the 45th anniversary of 1974's Just a Boy. And then we can have In My Secret Life by Leonard Cohen from 2001's 10 New Songs, which is pretty cool. And then with Lady in the title, we can have, what would be the name of the lady? Perhaps Lady Jane, which is by the Rolling Stones from 66's Aftermath, or even Lady Madonna, which is a Beatles song recorded on the Past Master sessions, but it should be called Lady Satanic because Madonna is very satanic. That's why she was one of the top acts of the 80s, and I seriously do not know why. Michael Jackson was there in the 80s as well, but when it comes to the 80s, the best artist in the 80s of all time is Phil Collins. And that includes the stuff with Genesis as well. And even Foreigner's music of the 80s as well, and maybe Kiss and Aerosmith. And I somewhat like some of Bob Dylan's 80s material as well. I kind of like all of the 80s Bob Dylan record, because Bob Dylan has never done any bad album in his life. All 38 albums of his are quality. So yeah, this is a good record. So this is pretty cool. And Rolling Stone magazine ranks that as the 20th greatest album of all time, but probably the 19th greatest studio album due to Elvis the Sun Sessions being at number 11. So that's pretty cool. Then as I said, 1984 he performed on We Are the World, and then we get another classic record, 1987's Bad. I mean, this is a good follow-up album, and I love this cover so much. And Bad is also a song title by U2, and it comes off the 35th anniversary of 1984's The Unforgettable Fire. And then we can have something like Bad Medicine, which is a song title by Bon Jovi from 1988's New Jersey. And then we can have Bad Company by Bad Company, the song title on their 40th anniversary of their 74 debut album. And then we can have Bad Sneakers by Steely Dan from 1975's Katy Lied. I mean, the music in Bad is just awesome. I like how Michael Jackson sings it, saying that he's bad, but I don't see it. I don't see it that way. I think he's a very talented singer. The Way You Make Me Feel is pretty good too, and Feel on its own is a song titled by Robbie Williams from his 2001 or 2002 record Escapology, and it's actually on the early roots of the AHSW and Little Mix cover version 68-78. So for the AHSW, it was played during the Tommy tour, like the early 69 part of the tour, but just before the record came out. And then for Little Mix, it could have been towards the end of the Get Weird tour, and then at the maybe somewhat during the Glory Day sessions, which is cool. Speed Demon is good as well. Liberian Girl, yeah, it's pretty good. Just Good Friends is pretty good. With Just Good Friends, it could be nice saying Just What I Needed, which is a Cars song from the 78 debut album. So the other 78 debut albums for favourites for me are Van Halen's debut album and The Police Outlanded Us to More, and the debut record of Dire Straits. Pretty cool. Another part of me is pretty good as well, but I like Man in the Mirror. Man in the Mirror is awesome. And then within the Mirror, it's a song titled by Kiss from 1997's Carnival of Souls, The Final Sessions. And then with Mirror, we can have Mirrors, which is a song titled by Blue Oyster Cult from the 40th anniversary of the 1979 record of the same name. And then we can have it's a bit like saying Man in the Box by Alice in Chains from the classic record Dirt. I think it came out in 1992, I'm not so sure. That's cool. I Just Can't Stop Loving You is pretty good. Can't Stop Loving You is a Leo Sayer song from his 78 debut subtitled album, and then covered by Phil Collins from 2002's Testify. And then we can have I Can't Stop Loving You, which are song titles by both Van Halen from 1995's Balance and by Aerosmith on 2012's Music from Another Dimension, which is cool. Dirty Diana is pretty good. It could be like saying maybe Dirty Work, which are song titles by both Steely Dan from 1972's Can't Buy a Thrill and by the Rolling Stones from the 1986 album same name. And perhaps what else could we have with Dirty in that? Oh yeah, then Dirty Work, an episode of Thomas Tank Engine as well. And then we can have Dirty Living by Kiss from 40th anniversary of 79's Dynasty. And then we can have Lowdown and Dirty by Foreigner from 1991's Unusual Heat. The one without Lou Gramm on vocals, the one to have Mr. Johnny Edwards on board. And he was a good man, I believe. And then we can get Get Down and Dirty, which is a song titled by Little Mix from 2016's Glory Days, which is actually a very good song. Although I used to not like Leanne Pinnock's where she goes, "Get down and dirty," but I kind of think it's funny though, the way she sings it. Smooth Criminal, yeah, it's pretty good. And I like Leave Me Alone. And that's actually a song titled by Lou Reed as well, from 1978's Street Hassle, which is awesome. So yeah, classic 80s record. And like I said, with Michael Jackson being one of the biggest stars of the 80s, he only had 3 albums, whereas when you look at Phil Collins, he had like 8. Because he had the first 4 solo albums, and then he had and then he had the next 4 records in Genesis, which is cool. So then we get 1991's Dangerous, which is another really cool album. I don't listen to this one as much as the other 3, because I was kind of losing interest in Michael Jackson at this point. So let's see. Jam is a bit annoying the way it starts off. But I like, of course, the track "Gone Too Soon," which is pretty nice. Which is a nice ballad. "Keep the Faith" is good too, and that's actually like saying "Keeping the Faith," which is a song titled by Billy Joel from his 1983 record, "An Innocent Man," which is awesome. And then what else we got in here? Then the title track "Dangerous" is good too, and that's also a song titled by AHSW from the 1982 record "It's Hard," which then for Little Mix could be for their 10th album in 2029, which could be the second one without Jessie Nelson, but obviously there's no way that you can't replace any of the 4 members in the greatest girl band in the world. Then there's... what else do we have in here? With "Remember the Time," it could be like saying, do you remember a time when you first heard Michael Jackson, and if someone hadn't heard him, they could be like saying "Never a Time," which is a song titled by Genesis on 1991's "We Can't Dance," which is cool. And it's pretty good. I can't remember anything else. Oh yeah, and then we can have "Can't Let Her Get Away." "Get Away" is a song titled by Kiss from a 1975 record, "Dressed to Kill." And then it could be like, and then "Getaway" are song titles by Pearl Jam on 2013's "Lightning Bolt," and then album titles by both Chris de Burgh from '82 and by the Red Hot Chili Peppers from 2016, which is cool. And a lot of other good stuff on here as well. Then with "Who Is It?" it could be like saying "What Is It?" or "What It Is" by Mark Knopfler from 2000's "Say in Philadelphia," which is cool. So yeah. And then with "Will You Be There?" it could be like saying "Maybe You'll Be There," which is a song title that Bob Dylan did for 2016's "Fallen Angels," which he does a nice cover of. So yeah, it's a fine album. Don't like it as much as the other 3, but it's still enjoyable. And then the last one I have to show you here is the double CD, History, Past, Present, Future, which is really cool. And Past, Present, Future is the name of an album title by Al Stewart, which is a really good album as well. But I love Year of the Catchwell, and I somewhat love On the Border, that song title. So this one is only really just the songs from previous records. So that's Billie Jean, Thriller, Beat It, Don't Stop Until You Get Enough, When We Start Something, and all those. So I'll just tell you the disc 2 songs. So Scream is a duet with Janet Jackson as well, and Scream is actually, I believe, a song title by Blue Oyster Cult from 1972's debut album, and which is pretty cool. And it was also the name of a band that featured Dave Grohl before he joined Nirvana. And Janet Jackson is known for a song, "Let's Wait a While," which Booker T and the MGs covered for their 1994 25th anniversary of "That's the Way It Should Be," which is a really... one to have Steve Jordan on drums, who played on albums like Bruce Springsteen, "Devils and Dust," Cat Stevens' "Back to Earth," and Neil Young's "Landing on Water," and he even toured with Eric Clapton as well, which is cool. Then we have "Don't Care About Us," "They Don't Care About Us" even, and "About Us" could be like saying "And Not About Us" by Genesis from 1997's "Calling All Stations," and then maybe "Think About Us" by Little Mix from 2018's "LM5," which was the single they released back in January this year, and it's a really good song. And yeah, that's that one. I like, of course, his cover of The Beatles' "Come Together," which is from the 50th anniversary of Abbey Road this year. And then, of course, Aerosmith covered it for the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band movie in 1978. And then "Money" is cool where they said "money." And "Money" is also a song title by Pink Floyd from 1973's Dark Side of the Moon. And it's also like saying "All You've Got Is Money" by Grand Funk Railroad from 1971's Survival. And it could also be like saying, what else have we got "money" in it? "Money, That's What I Want" by the Beatles from '63's With the Beatles. and all those. And then A Little Susie is good as well, and it's also like saying Wake Up Little Susie by the Everly Brothers, and then Susie Q covered by both the Rolling Stones from 50th anniversary of 12 by 5 and by Creedence Clearwater Revival from 68's self-titled debut, which is cool. Stranger in Moscow is pretty good too, and it could be near like saying Stranger in Town, which is the album title by Bob Seger. And then Stranger is obviously a Billy Joel record, and then Stranger Stranger by Paul Simon from 2016. And then maybe this time around could be like saying The Fourth Time Around by Bob Dylan from 1966's Blonde on Blonde, which he ripped off from the Beatles' Norwegian Wood, which is pretty cool. Because I remember Bob Dylan even mentioned that if Michael Jackson was anybody's hero, as he was about to perform in the garden, as he said, I'm going to sing you about my hero now. And he was also asking if Mel Gibson was anybody's hero or Bruce Springsteen. But anyway, sure, people know who my heroes are. Obviously, Bob Dylan, Paul Stanley, Booker T. Jones, Phil Collins, David Bowie, Davy Jones, Paul Williams, Eric Bloom, John Lees, Brian Ferry, Lou Gramm, Ian Curtis, Noel Gallagher, sorry Liam, John Kay, Sly Stone, Billy Joe Armstrong, Joey Ramone, Michael Hutchins, Francis Rossi, Phil Lynott, Geddy Lee, Billy Gibbons, Paul Rogers, Mark Knopfler, Sting, David Lee Roth, John Fogerty, Donald Fagen, Cat Stevens, Dave Grohl, Matt Bellamy, and then Aladdin of AHSW. And then for female heroes, obviously Perry Edwards, Nicole Scherzinger, Emma Bunton, Cheryl Cole, and Molly King. And even Dinah from Fifth Harmony as well. Because all those girl bands were kind of inspired by Michael Jackson's music, as everyone is. But again, I do think Michael Jackson is overrated, but he was still talented. So yeah, pretty cool record, this one. So that's it. There's all the records I have to show you on Michael Jackson. Can't believe it's been 10 years now since he had died. And he was supposed to kick off a tour that was meant to start, I believe, in July or August, but it got cancelled, obviously. So yeah. So remember to subscribe to my channel. Leave your comment below on what you think of Michael Jackson's music. And then on June 28th, 2019, which is my birthday, my 21st birthday, I'll be buying the Donald Fagen cheap Xmas box set. So stay tuned for an unboxing video for that. I might upload it on my birthday, but I'm not so sure. Or I'll definitely do it on the weekend, maybe. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. Take care and bye-bye.